Chikorita's Oil, presumably by Miles Tails Prower the Fox. Okay, where to begin? I suppose the beginning would be fitting. My name is Jacob. I'm a normal, carefree Pokémon fan. A few months ago, I went to this new pawn shop that opened up in town. It was named, if my memory is correct, Gold, Silver, and Games Pawn. Not the best name, I know. I went there and was looking through their stock when something struck my eye. It was Pokémon Gold. It looked like it was in pretty good condition, except here's the weird thing. The game's sticker had a shadow of Chikorita on it. Strange, right? I simply shrugged it off at the time and bought the game. $5. It's a good deal, right? I went home and got out my Game Boy Color, popped the game in, and turned it on. I suddenly jumped up when I heard this strange music. No, it wasn't Lavender Town. It was a bunch of loud, annoying keys randomly put together. I quickly turned the volume off and started the game. I was planning on it having no saves, but to my surprise it had one. Oil, I asked out loud. What the fuck is that type of name? I didn't like the name, but I started it, and I was at somewhere? It just had question mark, question mark, question mark as the name, and it was surrounded by trees. Again, I shrugged it off. I opened up the options and went to Pokemon, and to my surprise yet again, I found a Chikorita in it. Its name was Oil. It was a level gibberish. Yes, gibberish. It just had random dots. I selected it and nearly shat a brick. The Chikorita's eyes were bleeding oil, and so was its mouth. Underneath it was a bottle catching the disgusting gunk. I had to keep myself from puking. I literally screamed, "What type of sick fuck would do this?" I left the screen and went to items. Even creepier, all the items were bottles of oil. I nearly puked again. When I went back to the overworld, I started walking up, or should I say, the player did. I tried to make him stop, but he kept walking. A cutscene was triggered. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Why did you do this to me? The player looked around. I did nothing to you. The player stopped. Gibberish. Then the player began going nuts on screen. Running around everywhere, topsy-turvy. Then he stopped and seemed to fall with red pixels forming around his body. But the red quickly turned black. Next thing I know, oil is right beside the player. You made me suffer. Now you must suffer as well. Night, night, Jacob. I jumped and screamed, "How the fuck do you know my name?" Then my game turned off and wouldn't work no matter what I did. I pulled the cartridge out and looked at the insides. They were covered in oil. That was Chikorita's Oil. Final thoughts? Probably the dumbest story I've read. Okay, this had to have been requested as a joke. Maybe even written as a joke. I'm not even going to go into why this is awful, because it's pretty much 70% of the things I said were bad in other stories all mushed into one. Although it gave me a good laugh, especially after how boring the last story was, let's try and keep good stories for the show for the most part. Alright guys? That's it for this creepypasta, and the 6th day of the second 7 days of Creepypasta special. Tomorrow I have a very special creepypasta for you. One that's actually very hard to experience in full anymore, but don't worry, because I have all of you handled for this one. My personal favorite creepypasta of all time, Been Drowned. If you want to write your own story, help peer edit a story, or even read the stories early, check out the description where you'll find a link to the creepypasta section of my forum. You'll also find a link to the playlist of every creepypasta reading I've done. Also, you'll find a link to the Ultimate Markout YouTube channel. There you can find awesome wrestling matches, done in wrestling games with storylines that you'll probably find more interesting than half the crap on TV. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, sweet dreams.